Hey everybody, this is going to be your lecture video on 4.1. Going to switch over now and get started. All right, so these are just some general principles about posture. I'm not going to go into these too in depth because I'm going to do an actual lab demonstration video, unless I can find some good ones on Physio U. But basically, um, our bodies are meant to have a specific alignment to best deal with how gravity affects our bodies, right? But our bodies can also get out of alignment. And then when we have bad posture, um, that's what that means is basically our bodies have gone out of alignment. So you can take a plumb line, and I'll show you guys how to do this and use it to figure out if somebody has postural problems, right? So we can see this person clearly has a postural issue. This one is a pretty clear case of scoliosis right here, a thoracic right thoracic scoliosis, and it looks like it's actually double because it has a left one down here as well. But anyways, you can use a plumb line to kind of tell exactly where that is because we should line up straight with gravity. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So don't stress about that too much. You do need to know what the different landmarks are for lining up the plumb line to tell, right? And so um, in the posterior, it'll show them down here, right? So if you're looking at somebody from the front, the first thing you're going to look at is the nasal bones, the xiphoid, the umbilicus or your belly button, midpoint between the knees, midpoint between the ankles, right? And so you can take that line and line somebody up in front of it, and it should all line up with that line. If it doesn't, it's showing that somewhere, depending on where it is, there is some type of misalignment of the body, either caused by muscle problems or bad posture or different things. And we'll look at those here in a second. So if you're looking at somebody from the front, these are the things you look for. If you're looking at somebody from the back, these are the things you look for. You line them up with the spinous processes, the gluteal cleft, your butt crack, okay? Midpoint between the knees and midpoint between the ankles. And then lateral view, external acoustic meatus, basically the opening in your ear. Excuse me. The acromion, right? The lateral part of the acromion, greater trochanter on the hip, slightly posterior to the patella. It should kind of line up. The line that goes down should line up slightly posterior to the patella, and then also anterior, just in front of the lateral malleolus, right? And so you can have somebody put that line up, have somebody stand next to it, and you can tell, oh my gosh, they're out of alignment, and even where it is, right? So if their external acoustic meatus doesn't line up, it's like too far forward, but everything else does, you know, ooh, they've got something going on in the head cervical type of region, and that's where I need to work with them. So it's a good way to kind of figure out where there might be some problems. So anyways, here's just another description of how to align those things. Remember from both 116 and 125 what primary and secondary curves are, when they develop, and things like that. I'm not going to go over those again. We've been over and over and over them. So any deviation from what is the correct posture, which is in alignment with gravity, is called faulty posture, right? And faulty posture can be caused by lots of different things, okay? But there are two categories. There's structural deformities, which means there's something just wrong in the bones or in the maybe even muscles and things like that, but it's a body problem. It's a functional problem, can be caused by breaks, accidents, diseases, and things like that. Like it's a deep body problem. Then there are positional deformities that are caused by basically well, and this gets into muscles, ligaments, and things like that. When muscles are tight, when ligaments are tight or overly loose, and joint capsules are tight or overly loose, they're called positional because they're usually caused by bad positioning of the body, like sleeping in a bad position over and over, or getting text neck from looking at your phone too much with your head down, right? And these are things that, with the positional stuff, these are things that we will look at and correct a lot in PT. Sometimes the structural deformities have to be fixed surgically, right? Because it's bones, and it's if it can involve muscles, but it's like congenital problems with muscles that you can't just fix, right? It's because the muscle has died or was an improper length from birth, and you can't really stretch it and make it right. They're genetic problems. So anyways, positional deformities can be caused by, like I talked about, poor postural habit, just standing wrong, psychological factors, and you definitely need to know this list, okay, just so you know. Bad self-esteem, where you're kind of just like, you don't take care of yourself, don't think about yourself, you're feeling depressed, and you don't hold yourself up, right? And so even just psychologically, you kind of start to hunch your whole body over, which can lead to physical problems. Normal development and degenerative processes, sometimes just how we grow and things like that can cause postural misalignment, malalignment, pain leading to muscle guarding and avoidance postures. If you have pain in one area, right, you're going to hold your hand in a certain way, or leg or whatever, and eventually it's going to cause imbalance because you're trying to protect that body part, and it's going to cause imbalance. Muscle imbalance or spasm or contracture. One muscle can be too strong, the other, your agonist could be too strong, the antagonist could be too weak. They could just be tight, or like, we've studied contractures now. A muscle could just be stuck in a position because you held it that way too long. Respiratory conditions, people that really struggle with breathing will start to kind of change their posture to try and compensate and make breathing easier, but then the whole body kind of change to fit that new posture. General weakness, just being overly weak, can cause the body to not be able to stand up against gravity properly. Excess weight, if you got too much weight on the front, this can even be not just overweight though. Like, you'll see some ladies will have actually a forward rounded posture because they have excess weight even though they're not overweight, in certain places, if you understand what I mean there. And loss of proprioception. Loss of proprioception is just you don't recognize where your body is in space, and so you stand weirdly and you don't even realize it, right? And so you're kind of leaning to the side, and normally your body would let you know that, but because of some type of loss of the ability of your body to recognize where it is, this can be caused by CVAs and brain injuries and things like that. You just lose sight of that. I'm not standing up straight. I'm not standing upright, and you don't even notice it. And then your body can become fixed in that position and things like that. And so it becomes a positional deformity, right? So anyways, I'm going to stop there, and that kind of explains this section. Please ask any questions if you have them.